Subscribe today to RacingAmerica.tv to join our racing community and get access to over 200 live pavement short track races each season from across the U.S. and Canada. Plus, RacingAmerica.tv has exclusive and behind-the-scenes coverage of the NASCAR Cup team.
Enjoy competing with your teammates.
We already know.
Subscribe today and claim additional discounts and access. And your front row seat to watch the excitement and drama.
Car lifts up in the air.
From grassroots to NASCAR, become a subscriber today at the home for race fans everywhere.
You're watching Racing America right here on Racing America.
Racing America. It's in our DNA.
Presented by 317 Awards. Custom awards and trophies for all types of events and occasions. Plaques, custom trophies, custom laser engraving, custom laser cutting, custom vinyl work, banners, and more. It's 317 Awards. When you've got an award to give, you might as well give it with pride and get it from the best in the business. Check out 317 Awards. Happy Thursday, friends. Welcome into Dirty Air with Rodney Rodriguez. I am Rodney Rodriguez. Glad that you guys are all with us for another great program that we have coming up for you on your Thursday, and lots to discuss this Thursday afternoon, evening, depending where you're checking in from. I'd love your comments there if you're on one of the Facebook or the YouTube feeds. Let me know where you're checking in from. That's the cool part about this is that we're reaching so many different places. Also, if you're on X, on Racing America, at Racing America, you can let us know what's going on in your part of the world as well. I'm in Texas, where I'm based from. I was supposed to be doing some stuff in Houston this weekend. However, that has been canceled. That has been moved. I'll give some details a little bit later on when that next race date is going to be at Houston Motorsports Park, but whether or not our best friend at this time. This is a great show coming up in a matter of minutes. Talking to NHRA champion, legend, and about to be a motorsports Hall of Famer. It is Tony Schumacher is going to join, and then we're going to go down the road and talk about all the cool stuff that happens in the Legacy Series, which may be new to some folks, but Brian Benedict's going to check in. He's one of the front runners there in that division. He'll talk kind of some of the ins and outs about what the Legacy Series is. Real big brand in Houston, actually doing really good stuff in Mobile, and it looks like we might have some expansion going on with that as well. And then later on, we'll hit our Dirty Air short track racing spotlight, 2024 short track spotlight. And we're going to go back to Mississippi. We're going to talk about Pine Ridge Speedway, which is powered by Midas of Tupelo. All of that coming up right here within this hour or so of Dirty Air, which you can catch live on Racing America. And, of course, all of the podcasts are available at RodneyRodriguezSports.com. Here on Dirty Air, talking about all things that are motorsports. That's what we do around here. We talk a lot of short track racing, of course, and we blend in everything else, especially coming off of Memorial Day weekend. Always a great time to just talk about the sport that we love. And, man, I got to tell you, it is with the highest honor this evening right here on Racing America that we welcome in, getting set to head to New England. New England is the next spot for the NHRA series, and right here on Dirty Air, the all-time winning Top Fuel pilot, as I like to call them. We welcome into the program. It is my man, Tony Schumacher. Tony, how you doing, sir?
Outstanding, man. Well, you live in Austin, Texas, so you know we're living the dream, brother.
I tell you, Tony, it's you know how this week has been. It's like either been sizzling hot, and here where I'm at last night, it's like, where the hell does this rain come from? Where does the wind and all that? You never know what you're going to get around here.
No, it's crazy, but we need water in the lake so bad, man. Please, and it's tickling us. You know, it comes down, it's windy, it makes a big mess out of the lawn, but it doesn't fill the lake up, and we are hurting for water. So send it, Lord. Come on, we need it.
Oh man, Tony, that's the thing about it. With all the short track racing that I do, I do broadcast around the state, and it's like this past weekend I had two nights in Corpus, and I'm like, man, I want to work, but at the same time they need the rain. So that's where I'm kind of on the fence from time to time. I'm heading to Houston this weekend, and it's like, man, they need the rain, but I want to call some races.
Yeah, man, they had some pretty good rain recently in Houston. That's where my wife's from, out there in Beaumont, and they got poured on. They had some storms that were pretty nasty. I'm just wondering where they're coming from. Like, we're seeing hurricanes coming from inlands. We're seeing some crazy stuff going on right now. So racing ain't all that's nuts right now. But hey, it is what it is. If you need to fill up a lake, just put it where a drag race is. It usually finds rain somehow.
That's exactly right. That is a great point. Tony, for you, I mean, like I said, I mean, when it comes to winningest drivers in NHRA, that is you. Just all the records that you have, and just everything that you've done, and you're still at it. Kind of talk about that burning desire to strap into one of these Top Fuel machines and just continue to do what you love so much, man.
Well, it's what builds those wins. The fact that I get back in those cars, I love what I do, and I love all forms of motorsports, but drag racing to me has always been, it's been in the family, but really the smell of nitromethane and the power that comes with it, and the fans being able to get in the pits, it's just a unique all around world for us. And I think, you look at John Force and guys, he's in his 70s, man, and just want to race. Like, it doesn't get old. It's just, once it's in you, in all racing, and I talk just from the perspective of drag racing, that's the world I live in, but all them guys that race, all them women that driving cars right now, it's just, once it gets in your body, it's hard to get. It's our addiction.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. And then if you step away from it, you're going to find another form to continue to stay a part of it. Kind of talk about, so just over the years for you, I mean, and we'll stay specifically with Top Fuel, to see from the time you started, just kind of the cycle of drivers that have come through, and like you mentioned, it's dudes and it's women. Just to see the diversity that you've seen, the competitive level that you've seen, kind of speak to that with just the elite level of drag racing that the Top Fuel division represents.
Yeah, there was a time, like when I started in '96 in Top Fuel, there were a handful of good teams. In '99, there were 10, which was a crazy number of people that could leave with just 6 or 7 races to go, that could still leave with a points lead. That's how tight the field was. But I just can't recall a time it's ever been as good as it is now. And, fans right there, they'll write in and they'll be like, oh man, when Big Daddy drove, blah. And I'm like, yeah, there were 55 cars that would show up, or 100 cars that would show up. But Big Daddy's car was a second ahead of everybody. Now we're winning and losing by tens of thousands of a second every run. Inches. Two great teams with crew chiefs that have different parts and pieces and unique drivers and unique chassis, and we still win by inches. So I think the level is, the fans, when they come to a race today, Epping this weekend, we go up to Epping, there will be a fan that comes up to me at some point and goes, you know what, never been to a drag race before, but I feel like I owe more money. And that's what we look forward to, and that's what I hear in the pits. And the fans, being such a unique sport, they all get to come into the pits, and when they say that, it makes me, people go, oh, you've been driving a long time. What is it about it? So we're entertainers. Like my job this weekend, yes, I want to win the race real bad, but I want people to leave and go, that was the greatest show on earth. It's the greatest. We had a great time. My kids had a great time. It was good father, son, mother, son, daughter, whatever, bonding time. And for a few moments, the kids were not looking at their phones. They were watching people work on cars and getting that interest, and it's so important, man. We've drifted away from that. Kids sit up in the rooms and watch computers, and there are very few mechanics. I bought my kid last night. I bought my middle son a KTM 690 Super, or Duke. I love it. I have a Duke, and for him, he had a flat tire a couple days ago, and he was out there staring at it.
Yeah.
God, you just need to kneel down. We're going to pull it. And we took it apart. And he goes, oh, the smell of the tires is really good. I'm like, geez, you're 20 years old. Of course it's good, man. I've been trying to tell you that forever. But once it gets in them, once they realize that smell of gas coming, the garage really smells good, and the tools and that oil smells good, and so we're trying to get, and drag racing is great because you come out, like I said, you get that pit pass, you get to stand behind my car. We'll go 330 miles an hour, and then they're going to get to come out and watch my guys take it apart, put it back together in 60 minutes, start it, make 12,000 horsepower, and go race it again. And they see that humans, just like them, their age, not much older, are doing this, man. And they, anyone that has a kid, I'm 54, right? I got kids, and they need to see that people work really hard, that everyone doesn't get to sleep till noon, and you don't roll out of bed when you want, that people commit and they're there early. And I have my son, I'll have Michael go to the races and try to keep up. I don't care what you do, just keep up with one of them. Not a chance. I mean, these guys work hard. So the show, what these kids get to see that come out, and what moms and dads get to show their sons and daughters, is that effort pays off. And guess what, kids? There's a winner and a loser. And that, man, we've lost track of that a long time ago, right? And I'm here to tell you, and I tell every show, every time. Last week, I didn't win. Now, we are the winningest team in the world. 86 beautiful trophies upstairs, 8 world champ trophies, but there's not 200 or 300. I've been in race trophies because you don't get them when you get your butt kicked. And guess what? Yeah. Paycheck smaller too. It's just the way it goes. So bring them kids out. Let them see some real racing. Let them see some good, intense stuff. And you know what else? It's a 3-second race. So we built this ADHD personality in a kid where they can flip through Google. They can go, how many planets are there? How many moons are there? And in 5 seconds, they know we got to go get an index card out at the library, look it up. And it took time. And guess what? When Archie Bunker was over, what we had to do? Wait a week. When the Jeffersons was over, we had to wait a week. And it was like, oh, what's going to happen? Now they just go boom, boom, binge. And drag racing's like that. One car runs, winner, loser. 3 seconds later, another car runs, winner, loser.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that because it's kind of twofold there. Being a kid, going to stock car races. I remember to this day, Tony, I was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old, and they set me in a race car after the races and to smell the rubber and to smell the brake fluid and all of that stuff. And it's like, it's there. I mean, that's how you hook somebody with something like that. I mean, you get that. It is no bullshit. You get that in you literally, and you will keep coming back. And I think that something else that you mentioned right there, because I see it, now with youth sports, with football, baseball, basketball, all of that. We've got to teach this generation how to lose, because you're going to lose more often than you win. And I think that's something you hit the nail on the head right there, exactly with what you're talking about.
Well, people say, what's your greatest moment in racing history? And I go, well, my greatest moment was the run. It was an incredible, but that wasn't the moment, to be honest. It was all the moments before the moment that we were terrible, that led up to the moment where we had to be great. But also, which race do I remember the most? The one where I got beat by Bernstein on a hole shot and cost me a championship because it was painful. And if you don't allow it to be painful because they just give you an apple anyways and go, hey, it's okay. But no, it's not okay. I mean, my guy had 9 guys counting on that bonus. We all got smoked. It's one of those things where there has to be a difference. Like there just has to be a difference. And it's when I hear parents talk about, oh, it hurts their feelings, I just want to slap them because this is the most foolish thing I've ever heard in my life. There has to be a difference. Some kids are going to put out more effort than other kids. And those kids deserve more stuff. They just work harder. Let it be that way. And if your kid's the one that doesn't want to work, then explain to him he doesn't get as much. It's okay. Just tell him that if you don't want to work as hard, you just don't get as much stuff. Sorry. I mean, we work endless hours to make these shops work. It never ends. Racing is 24/7, maybe 25. We find hours in a day to make it work. It's just don't get breaks. We don't get breaks. And we love it. And the truth is, in any sport, I mean, baseball players, when they're done playing baseball, they just want to play baseball. And in between baseball games, they're just waiting for a baseball game. Like there's not, every now and then my wife will be like, just remember when you go out, you talk about racing all the time. And you're a human also. And I'm like, I'm kind of a human, but I'm a race car driver. Like that's just, I don't know who I am without that. You know what I mean? I know I have some other personalities. I like to ride motorcycles and cool cars, and I love to fish and all that stuff, but it's all stuff just waiting for the next race.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Like, we're just
Yeah,
waiting.
it is. Yeah, it is, and even getting to do this. I mean, because I raced for a lot of years. My dad and I, we raced short tracks, around the state, and now I've gotten into this, and for whatever reasons, I don't race but I never say that I'm done. I never say that I'm done, because the times that I do race, somebody calls me and it's like, man, they don't even finish the sentence, Tony, and I'm getting my shit out of the closet.
Absolutely.
It's time to go. So for you, I think it's so cool. Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, the class of 2025. You will join your dad. I mean, Tony Schumacher, or your dad, Tony. You will join him. One of the greatest ever. Kind of talk about that honor for you to get to. Just being in any kind of Hall of Fame is one thing, but the fact that you get to do that, and Don is already there, got to be just an unbelievable feeling.
It's it's amazing. We go to Bristol here in a couple of weeks, and up on the Bristol Hall of Fame, they got the legends up there, and look up there and see Don Schumacher and Tony Schumacher. Just you look back at the insane effort, and we gave up so much to be here that someday, like me here in March, you get to stand on stage and talk about what got you there. And it's funny because you're really such a small part of the group that got you there. Up on stage talking about, I'm in the Hall of Fame, but shoot, man, there were several team members, several crew chiefs, several situations that had to happen, we had to make happen. And it was just, it's a blessed life to even be mentioned amongst those people. When you look at a list of people that come before you and the people that'll come after you, but to be put on that list, to know that you've achieved it, but really lived it, not just achieved it, but to have lived such a great life that you could be sitting in a position to be in the Hall of Fame like that. It's awesome. I mean, that's what you dream of, great moments. Bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, full count, you're up. That's a dream. You never dream of, you're winning by 10 points and it doesn't matter. I've had those chances so many times where you had to win to be the champ. You had to, be a machine. You had to be part of something great. And, some of the times we got beat, but no matter what, it was great to be part of it, man. It was what you dream of. And man, like the movie Miracle, man, he might not have seen it, but he lived it, and I got to live it. And all the time people ask me, what are your greatest memories? I can't remember half the things. I've forgotten at my age more things than most of these young kids that are racing. And that's the truth. Like I remember my first win. I remember my last win, a couple in the middle, but there's 86 other ones I can't. I don't teams of which parts, what pieces. It was a blur for so long, and there was so much going on. But I'm thankful that the people on the outside and in the racing world that are watching, that they took note. My own world for a long time, I was like a little baby spaceship, just in my racing world. 3 kids trying to grow up, and I missed a lot of that. I made a lot of it too. Again, we only work for 3 seconds at a time, so technically speaking, I'm driving for 6 minutes here. I did make a lot of ball games, but you give up and sacrifice so much because it's just you're on the go. And I drove that Army car for 19 years, man. They had me in every place and every base, jumping out of stuff, getting thrown out of stuff, driving tanks. I was busy for a long, long time. People that took recognition of it, and I appreciate it, and just feel blessed to be there.
Tony, I've always wanted to ask you about that. I'm glad you mentioned that Army car. That right there, we see these days sponsorships come and go. I mean, it's a nature of the beast. I mean, it's a very expensive sport to be a sponsor of, to be an investor of, or something like that. But I think that's something that you did extremely well, is what you just mentioned right there. That relationship that you had with them, you nurtured that and you represented them well. Man, it's unheard of, the relationship and the long-term investment that they made with you. Kind of speak to that. That's unheard of, honestly, in this sport. I don't care what variation that you're looking at.
Yeah, the first when I knew the Army was coming to have a meeting with us, I shaved my head top and I walked into the meeting, and they were there to tell my dad that we were not getting a deal. And I knocked on the door and opened it with a flat top, and I said, "Excuse me, it looks like you guys are choosing a driver. And you invite. I'm driving, by the way. I'll be driving this car." And they laughed a little bit, and then they looked at me and they went, "Yeah, I think you will be." And they literally said, "You just shaved your head." I go, well, I mean, close the deal. You know what I mean? That deal was too big to let slide, and it was great. Now, I went to Congress last week to speak on behalf of motorsports and to talk about, taxation and things like that. And I was walking through there, and I had congressmen calling me Sarge. I mean, they remember these people were there, and it was so long and so important to the Army. We were the recruiter that the Army ever had. We recruited almost 50% of the Army for 19 years. And then when we were done, and today are down how much? 50%, trying to still figure out why. But, sometimes you have new leadership and they step in and they have a better idea. And even if it doesn't work, it's too late to fix it. So it was a great time. I appreciated all the great moments I had, the great people I met, the generals along the way, the sergeant majors of the Army, the Prestons, and those guys were fantastic people. I met so many Delta, so many Special Forces guys that, just life-changing for me, made me a better person just to be around those guys and appreciate what our country is really about. I think sometimes we're not exactly sure which way the country's going, but when you meet some of those guys, we have no doubt we're going to be in the right place for a long time. They're the best there is, and you can count on them. Like people, you see them kneeling down for the flag. I don't understand that. You don't see it at a drag race. But that being said, those people are out there doing what they do, and you better respect what they're doing because they are the best in the world at keeping our country the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And this past weekend, that's one thing that I always talk about. It's like what we just did this weekend. Those are the heroes, not, not guys behind the wheel, not any of that. I mean, because those are the folks that have really given us what we're able to enjoy.
100%. 100%. Memorial Day was, it's just a great weekend for, it's people celebrating, making their hot dogs. I get it, and boating and everything. But lately, I feel there's just a lot of people standing up and trying to rally because, we need it. We need it. And, I think we'll get back to our good place soon.
I think so too. A good kick in the shorts, I think we need.
Sometimes you need it.
Or right in the ass. I'll go ahead. Right, Tony, lastly, currently sitting ninth in the standings. You talked about this weekend is coming up. Justin Ashley, Langdon, Coletta, Torrance. These guys, Antron Brown, Tony Stewart, for crying out loud. Talk about the caliber of driver you're racing up against this year, man. You guys are loaded in Top Fuel.
It's unbelievable. And, you finish in the top 10 and you did something. These guys are great. There's some really tremendous drivers out there, but we're going to really see the difference now as it heats up. I don't know that we'll see it so much in Epping. It looks absolutely amazing there. Mid 70s, Hall butt kind of stuff. But we start getting to Bristol and it warms up to 2,000-3,000 degrees like it does in the middle of Bristol, Tennessee in the summer. All of a sudden, the drivers, that reaction time don't mean squat because that car ain't making it 10 feet. And it requires someone that can handle a car. And that's when you really see it. And I love that stuff because I enjoy that part of it. If they're just two cars hitting the gas, that ain't my forte. It's driving a car, understanding where you are on the racetrack, keeping that car in the center of the racetrack, and it becomes more difficult. And I think, I've been part of the best races in the world are when two people smoke the tires at the Christmas tree. You've seen it. They're sideways and they're trying to gather it up, and it's like they're both riding bulls that are pissed off, and that is how it's supposed to be. It's like riding a sprint car, right? Yeah. The outlaw cars, man. You get in that thing, you strap your set on and you do your job. It's cool.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. Man, Tony, this has been a blast. Now that I know that you're here, I'm going to come to Austin. We need to get a beverage and talk some shop, man.
I'll come down to the studio, man. We'll have a beer there and go on the shop.
Absolutely. Would love to do it, man. Congratulations heading to the Hall of Fame. Good luck this weekend. And, man, thank you for all the great memories. It's been a blast to watch you, and it's really cool that it's still rolling, brother.
Thank you, man. See you soon.
You got it. All right, you guys stick around. More Dirty Air coming.
Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice-cold beer. Racing has been at the core of Hooters' DNA from the beginning. Whether it's backing the best drivers or serving up the best food on race day, race fans know Hooters is the real deal. Big screens, great food, good times. Hooters, the official home of race fans.
Subscribe today to RacingAmerica.tv to join our racing community and get access to over 200 live pavement short track races each season from across the U.S. and Canada. Plus, RacingAmerica.tv has exclusive and behind-the-scenes coverage of the NASCAR Cup teams.
Enjoy competing with your teammates.
You already know.
Subscribe today and claim additional discounts and access. And your front row seat to watch the excitement and drama.
Car lifts up in the air.
From grassroots to NASCAR, become a subscriber today at the home for race fans everywhere.
You're watching Racing America right here on Racing America.
Racing America. It's in our DNA.
Indeed it is, and a busy weekend once again as we dive in here on Dirty Air on Racing America. I'm Rodney Rodriguez. Great conversation there in the first segment of the program. How about that, talking to Tony Schumacher? That guy right there, just everything that he's done, and now going into the Motorsports Hall of Fame that we talked about in 2025. Just a really big deal right there, and just great down-home cutting conversation. Of course, everything you can find at RodneyRodriguezSports.com. Every podcast will be there on Racing America, and then RacingAmerica.tv. You can find all the Dirty Air archives as well. All right, it's time to go racing back here in my home state. The Grassroots Roundup is coming up this weekend at Houston Motor Sports Park as we get after it once again. And Grassroots Roundup, kind of what that is on the bill this weekend, you're not going to find some of the staples that we've had in Texas for a long time. You're not going to find the Texas Pro Trucks. You're not going to find the Modifieds. What we're doing here is showcasing the other divisions. And I hate to say other because these are the divisions that have really been making the kicking asphalt, like I say there in Houston. And I will tell you point blank, the biggest contributor to what has happened in Houston is the legacy division. And these, for folks that may be newer to this or are checking in from around the country, you're like, what's a legacy? Well, for folks that go way back like I do, it's a baby grand is what they used to call these. These were the baby grands, the Allison legacies that used to come out of the shops over in Alabama. And these were really huge in Texas. They kind of fell off a little bit, but man, now they are bigger than ever. And welcoming to the program here this Thursday evening is one of the gentlemen that leads the charge and is one of the front runners and just a phenomenal race car driver. I welcome in my good friend, Brian Benedict. How you doing, sir?
Good, Rodney. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. A blast to have you on here. I know we've been trying to get this done here for a little bit. Before we dive in, because I want to talk a lot about your racing background, because that's really what I like to do on this show is I want folks to get to know you guys. But this past weekend, you go to the big track. You go to the big old half-mile, no-wall Mobile International Speedway. Talk about the weekend there on that. That old lady right there is fast.
Yeah, that is a fun track, and that is a track that has a lot of history. I love racing there. It's fast. Eddie Schumacher and his team out there are doing a phenomenal job, getting everybody involved and getting that community involved in a track that has an awful lot of history. And every time they'll have us, I would be more than happy to go out there and run a race. It's a great experience.
So, Brian, with these cars, and we can dive in here in a little bit with some of the intricacies of these machines. So with these, are you flat-footing this thing most of the time around there? I mean, because I know with the banking on the front stretch and the back stretch, and obviously the corners, I mean, it is built for speed. And these cars right here, they're all-out race cars. What's kind of the tendency of driving one of these at that place?
At that particular track, within the division, we like to call it kind of our Talladega. So it's about the closest you're going to come to flat footing around a track. You just got to get the weight to set in the corners, and 3 and 4 is different than 1 and 2. So as long as you can do that, it's just fast, and you sail it off in there as with everything you got.
And to that, Brian, with the cars, I mean, you look at them right here, and I'm pulling up a graphic right there of you. They're coming off of the podium this past weekend. So, kind of talk about some of the technical stuff with these race cars. I mean, they're small, but they're mighty. I mean, the suspension on these things, I mean, it's all out race car. I mean, it's a flat race car. That's all there is to it. Motor, obviously, with the smaller car, you're reduced a little bit right there, but kind of talk about some of the technical jargon of these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. So the cars originated with a design that came from Donnie Allison's sons, actually, and they used the Mazda B2200 engine and transmission, and they really maximized what the output of that engine and that drivetrain to a design chassis that was intended to be 3/4 scale of what used to be called the Winston Cup cars. And they did a great job. And the series itself has stayed true to some of the original design of keeping everything within spec, within specification. So there's adjustments you can make to the chassis. It's a great teaching tool and learning tool to help you get the absolute most out of something that we are all running as close to identical as possible. And the other thing it does that I really enjoy about it is it puts a lot into the driver's hands. So if all the cars are very evenly matched, it comes down to driving technique, which is fantastic. I love that aspect of it. And kind of a side benefit of that too is it's kept the cost down of these cars as well. Some years ago you could get into one of these race ready for about $5,000, $6,000, and I just saw one that went for sale. A beautiful car they're asking $5,500. It's race ready with a seat, and I just don't know anywhere else you can go for that little of money, hit the track, and get the feel of a full size stock car, and it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. These are a blast to watch, and I can only imagine even probably more fun to drive. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about your background. I know folks see you, in Houston and Mobile, the different places that you're in one of these cars. But for you, this is a long tenured racing career that you have done, and you have been on podiums in some of the most iconic race facilities in the world. Kind of talk about some of those bigger accomplishments that you're really proud of as you've been doing this for some time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a second generation race car driver, and I was raised at racetracks along the Midwest, and my dad got me started in karting when I was 10 years old, and racing's just kind of everything. I've always known racing, and I've been very, very fortunate to have the opportunity to race at some very phenomenal facilities, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where I finished top 5 in Battle of the Brickyard there. And I think there was about 60 individuals in my division. And I had a podium until the last lap there, but I took the 4th, and I'm still pretty proud of it. Circuit of the Americas, I've raced there in a couple different formats, and I've always been able to score on the podium there as well. And just what a beautiful facility. And I'm just very, very, very blessed and very lucky to have been afforded the opportunities I have in the racing world.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. That is so awesome. So kind of back with the legacy division, I think one of the things that is so cool about it to me is that we have guys, and you talked about kind of the equality right there with the cars. I mean, the rules package. I mean, this is something where I think folks need to look at y'all's division and the amount of cars and the competitiveness and I mean, there's so many guys and ladies that can win on any given day, depending on circumstances. But I think one of the cool things about you guys is the sense that you have yourself, that you've raced in these different locations. You've got younger individuals, both male and female, that are doing this. You got old farts like Mike Knotts. And all of these, it's such a variation of drivers out there. And the other part about it is, I mean, things are going to happen on the racetrack. I mean, things absolutely will happen on the racetrack. But sure. You guys, you genuinely seem to give a damn about each other. And that's refreshing to see that.
Oh yeah. So just in terms of the competitiveness, it's unbelievable. All the different backgrounds that you just mentioned. One of the last races at Houston, the top 7 qualifiers were all within 0.14 of a second with their qualifying time, which is amazing. I mean, we're getting down to, and at Mobile too, we're getting down to separation of thousandths of a second from different individuals, all driving cars that are fairly identical. And so that's amazing to me. And, it's really a tribute to the design of the car as well. And as far as the folks that are involved with this division, I couldn't ask for a better group. There have been so many people that have stepped up to help competitors. Alan Sampson has been a huge supporter of the series. Pretty much all of us have spare parts. And if somebody breaks something, it's really just, here, take it just as long as you can get out there for the feature. If you get another one and I need it, just give me one back someday. It's really just a huge support system, and it's great to see.
Yeah, that's for a lot of years I did in our parts DCRST, Dwarf Car Racing Series of Texas, and that's
Yes,
exactly
sir.
what that was. And I know that you wound up, and the guy that started me off you wound up in his 27 car there for a little
that's
bit.
right.
Do you still have that, by the way?
I don't. I love that car. I wish I did have that car. It treated me very, very well. Got some wins in that car. And I loved racing with DCRST too. I understand exactly what you're saying with that support network.
Yeah,
I really think that we're coming close to duplicating something like that with the Allison Legacy Series.
Yeah, I figured you didn't have it because with the growth of legends in Texas, I know it would have been there if you had it.
Yeah, if I had it, it'd be on the track for sure.
So looking at moving forward, I know that you and I kind of messaged a little bit back and forth to where, I mean, obviously we see it not just here at home in Texas, but we see it in Pensacola, we see it in Mobile, we see it at Cordele, we see it all across the country, like I mentioned with the modifieds and the trucks being off, but your class is the one that seems to just be continually growing. And you mentioned now Mobile has you guys on a point system and hopefully a point fund in place there. You mentioned some changes to where possibly something to where you guys could expand out of Mobile and here. Elaborate on that a little bit. I mean, I would love to see you guys get to go to different places.
Yeah, absolutely. There's pockets of these cars that exist in different areas, and it's really about identifying where those pockets are and identifying those that we have quite a few in Houston. We have about 25 of these cars in Houston. That doesn't mean 25 people want to travel, but identifying who those people are and what tracks are willing to run us as a couple races a year, or Mobile has put together a point system for us this year on their own that may spurn into something else with some of the other tracks that are out there. Outside of Houston, we're really looking for, where are the next closest tracks that are available to us. Mobile is that. There's been a couple others that have come up in conversation. And again, I may just be a driver in the class, but I would do anything I could to help promote this series at additional tracks, to be able to experience that and maybe, bring some folks into the series that, can't really get into a super late model or something like that right now. And I think this would be a great opportunity for them.
I agree. And I think one of the things, because the travel really is the thing. I mean, that's been an ongoing debate in short track racing in these parts. I mean, with travel and all of that when it comes to the bigger cars. And a lot of, folks that I know with Outlaws and Super, I mean, all of that. I mean, it really is tough. But one of the things that when it comes to travel for you guys, if you have a big trailer, that's fine. But you don't necessarily need that to haul one of these around. We go back to the open trailer debate back and forth. It's great, the rolling advertisement and all this, that, and the other. But man, these are a little bit easier to transport when it comes to something like that.
Easier to transport, easier to store for sure. So I've, I've driven bigger cars as well, and it's a lot. There's still a lot of work that goes into these cars, but I noticed the difference in transportation. I tow my car around, by myself, and I also was able to road race my car quite a bit as well too, in the NASA series, and that was a lot of travel. I mean, that was travel every single time we raced, and it wasn't that difficult for me, even racing on my own. So I think that's a big advantage to being a part of the Awesome Legacy series and being able to be as mobile as we are.
Yeah. Yeah. So Brian, just kind of for folks that may be catching this and are just kind of honing into what you're talking about right here. So with these cars, let's say on a given race night, let's take travel out of it. I mean, let's not use Mobile as an example, because that's fuel for the hauler and all of that. With tires, you're on race tires. I know with the American Racers has been what you use in Texas and Mobile, but I think that Hoosier may become a player now. But when it comes to tire bills and fuel and so forth, how many laps can you get on these tires? That's the thing with dwarf cars. We run the damn tire for damn near all year. So what's kind of the dollars and cents on that stuff?
So with a set of tires, you're looking at, probably about 600, maybe a little bit north of $600 for a set. If you maintain those tires, which can mean a lot of different things, taking good care of them, maybe flipping them to get the rubber where you need it, you definitely can get a good 4 or 5 races out of a set of tires. Now, if you want to get tires more frequently than that, so be it. If you want to try to rotate them or come up with a strategy, that's all great. These cars run off of pump gas, so you don't have a real big fuel bill. I fill up a 5-gallon jug with pump gas for the car, and at the end of the night, I'm putting it into my truck to get home. So, there really isn't a big expense there. All of the consumables and things like that are very easily accessible. I actually went through and made a list of the air filters and coils and plugs and things like that. To be perfectly honest with you, you can order all of those things off of Amazon and have them on your front door the next day. So, which is great, and you can kind of stock up on spares and be prepared for all that if you choose to be. But the cost is really low, which makes it great for getting involved, getting started, and not having to throw a ton of money in just to be able to take the track.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of it is in that scenario with the engine package. I mean, with the way that's lined out. Say you want to find some speed, you have to go back and you do stuff with tires or you do stuff with setup. You can't pull the heads off and send them to ABC Head Shop over there and get them milled, and you can't go in there and change a cam and do all this other stuff for the next race. I mean, that thing is buttoned up. There's nothing you can do right there.
That's right. I mean, you have to do your maintenance and you have to think outside the box a little bit, try a different line, get a little bit more aggressive with something you're doing already, and just, research. And it's a very good teacher.
Yeah, man, putting it in the driver's hands. What a concept, man. That I can't believe that. So lastly, BB, coming home this weekend, and these Texas races, man, these are, and you guys, there's more money in the pot for you guys this weekend. And that's the other thing I do want to applaud for you guys. I mean, you have these incredible car counts, and your payout is not great. The whole thing is, I'm glad that this weekend you guys are going to be showcased. Your thoughts on coming home for this one? The 10, 12 cars that can win, yourself included.
Yeah. I think we're going to have maybe a car or two that hasn't shown up yet this year, and it may just keep increasing, which would be great. I love racing Houston. Owen and his team are just doing a phenomenal job out there, putting together a program for the fans that is just second to none. This is in the backyard of, our sponsor, Wild West Motoplex. So we always love to, go up into the stands and meet with some of the fans and hand some things out and shake some hands. So we love being home to race. There's nothing like it, and we couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be one of the highlights of the night on a very busy night coming up in Houston. Brian, congratulations, all the success, man. I love your story. I love the success that you've had, and it's guys like you that get in a division like this that are continually doing whatever they can to make the series better. And I think that's super important with folks like you, because that's really the best promoters are you guys. I know money's hard to find, but the word of mouth and just being positive and upbeat about what's going on, I think that's so important.
I couldn't do it without the supportive family that I have, and my wife is always pushing me too. So I'm a very blessed guy, and I really appreciate it, Rodney.
Absolutely. That's Brian Benedict right there. He's going to be on the track. Here he is once again, and I will say that is a fine-looking machine. Oh, what a beautiful machine, as I like to say so often on a lot of these broadcasts. It's got that number 5 that is very near and dear to my heart. He will be on the track this weekend there at Houston. You can check that out, and it's going to be a great weekend coming up. You folks stick around. Coming up, we will talk our local track spotlight. That's next right here on Dirty Air on Racing America.
Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice-cold beer. Racing has been at the core of Hooters' DNA from the beginning. Whether it's backing the best drivers or serving up the best food on race day, race fans know Hooters is the real deal. Big screens, great food, good times. Hooters, the official home of race fans.
Pro Late Models Friday night, May 31st at Five Flags Speedway. RacingAmerica.tv has you covered with all the action plus support classes. It's all Friday night, May 31st, only on RacingAmerica.tv.
Subscribe today to RacingAmerica.tv to join our racing community and get access to over 200 live pavement short track races each season from across the U.S. and Canada. Plus, RacingAmerica.tv has exclusive and behind-the-scenes coverage of the NASCAR Cup team.
Enjoy competing with your teammates.
We already know.
Subscribe today and claim additional discounts and access, and your front row seat to watch the excitement and drama.
Car lifts up in the air.
From grassroots to NASCAR, become a subscriber today at the home for race fans everywhere.
You're watching Racing America right here on Racing America.
Racing America. It's in our DNA.
Comes to Wenatchee Valley Super Oval Saturday, June 1st for the Wenatchee 200. See the West Coast's best grassroots racers as they compete for 200 laps and battle for $25,000 to the winner. Plus Thunder Cars and Legends. It's the Wenatchee 200 paying $25,000 to win at Wenatchee Valley Super Oval Saturday, June 1st. For more information, go to WVSO.com and you can watch it only on RacingAmerica.tv.
It is Dirty Air on Racing America. Thank you all for being a part of the program. Great conversations that we have had tonight. Tony Schumacher, I mean, what can you say? I mean, to get to talk to that dude right there and just everything that he and Don Schumacher, I mean, it's one of those names just so synonymous with racing. And it doesn't matter the genre. I mean, when you hear Schumacher, it's like, man, that's racing. And just a regular dude. I mean, just a regular dude right there as he's talking to us. Brian Benedict talking about all the cool things that are continue to happen with the Legacy Series, as I mentioned, and you probably saw it in the chat. We did record that yesterday. The race at Houston this weekend has been canceled due to weather. I mean, weather in Texas, we are in all kinds of a mess down here. So that's been canceled. Next race happening there on June the 22nd. I've been talking about throughout the year about right here on Dirty Air, the Dirty Air 2024 Short Track Racing Spotlight. And that's something where I want you guys to identify your racetrack. You email me there at dirtyracingshow@gmail.com. And that's where I want to showcase your drivers. I want to showcase your sponsors. I want to showcase your racetrack because this show is where the short trackers gather, and we sit here and we talk about short track racing. And we've got one coming up. We're going to talk about Pine Ridge Speedway. That's over in Mississippi, Guntown, Mississippi, powered by Midas Tupelo. But before I bring on our guest, how about a little look at what you get right there at Pine Ridge? Oh, man, late models. That's what it's all about right there. When you get the late models that get out on the dirt track right there and start diving in, especially in Mississippi, because that is a hotbed for late model racing. And we bring in on our short track spotlight, looks like we got a man behind the wheel and we have a man not behind the wheel. Pine Ridge Speedway, powered by Midas Tupelo. We welcome in Jason Weatherford, owner of Midas, 3 locations right there, and Ron Oswald, my man from Texas, going to a different location right there. He is the chief marketing officer of this fine establishment. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Man, absolutely. So, Ron, I'll go to you first. I think it's one of those things to where, you know how this goes, to where when you're a part of something that's automotive related and you have a racetrack in your territory, to where if you can tie your business into doing what they are doing, that's something that's really going to reciprocate itself, not only to your company, but to the racers, to the race fans, and just to the community.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great partnership to partner with Pine Ridge Speedway. When me and you met years ago, we got tied in together at Central Texas Speedway.
Yep.
I've worked for several tracks back with Mary Ann over at Cotton Bowl in Texas, and I saw how those partnerships worked. And Jason Weatherford, our CEO, essentially took over these stores about a year ago, and we were looking at opportunities to brand ourselves, but also build relationships that were a lot more than just driving the customer. We wanted to be seen as a community involver and giving back to our community. And a lot of businesses don't do that. So we have several programs that do that, but bringing really into the track with the branding. When you go through the front gate, you see our logo, it's tied in with Pine Ridge. That was the beauty of it. And I heard through a networking group that there was a local track that used to be open years ago.
Yep.
And, hey, it was available. So I went out there and met with the guys. A little funny, quick story. I actually tied in and, couldn't reach the track through social media. So I took one of our courtesy cars from Midas, drove it out on the track and parked it, shot a photo of the Midas car in front of the stands. And I went, somebody will come out here in a minute. So that's when Brian Mitchell came out, developed a relationship with the track, and the rest is kind of history, how we got involved and a new way of branding and giving back and spreading the Midas name.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jason, for you, I mean, that's one of those things to where when you're going to invest and you're going to do something, I mean, and these days it's even more important because dollars and cents are so important right now. I mean, they're hard to find. They're hard to the return on investment in a situation like that. So for you to kind of dive in right here with the locations, to dive into a short track where maybe it's something uncharted water, kind of your thoughts on how all of this came together, and you're like, okay, we're diving in, we're going to be a part of Pine Ridge.
Yeah, like Ron said, this kind of happened really quickly. It was like, hey, this is we need to go talk to these guys. He just went out there like one of our courtesy vehicles. But I grew up in the area. I grew up around this track. I remember this track, and to hear it's coming back in a better than really it's ever probably been, as far as I can remember. I was like, this is something I want to be a part of. I mean, I'm a gearhead. everybody in our shops, I mean, obviously, have grown up with working on cars, and I've got guys that want to race. They have raced, and now that we're partnered with the track, now I keep getting pushed on. Okay, when is there going to be the Midas for a race car? So, you know, we're going all in. So it's been a very fun experience going to the track, seeing how the community's been supporting. Because at the end of the day, I mean, it's people that come to our stores, come to the track that makes all that possible. So we want to be around them. We want to help drive as many people to that track as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And isn't that, guys, and you can both speak to this. I mean, Ron, I know that you know, as accomplished as you are, you know, with media relations and doing, you know, what you're doing now, it really is so important to get that reach out in front of people. And I know what we're trying to do in Texas on the dirt track side is we're trying to reach out to the kids. I mean, we're trying to do stuff. If the kids want to show up, that's going to bring the parents. And I think that that's something that's so important because you guys now with what you're doing there at Pine Ridge, powered by Midas Tupelo, is up. Oh, looks like we lost him. But Jason, the one thing is when you put your name associated with a track like that, I mean that only enhances people when they come in. I mean they're going to see that and they're going to say, well, what is this racetrack thing? I mean, what is this all about? It's gonna pique the interest pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know, obviously being an automotive repair shop, it definitely is a good tie. And you know, it's been really great to meet a lot of the fans, and you know, they're excited about it, and it just seems like that support from the community and fans, it's just growing. I mean, their social media following with the Speedway they've seen some amazing growth in the past few months as well. So that's been I know that's very good. And it's going to set us up, set up the track, and everyone for success. So.
Absolutely. So, Ron, how much do you, as Chief Marketing Officer, there for Midas Tupelo, I mean, how much do you? Because I know a lot of folks. I really think that it's important for folks to lean on the NASCAR thing, and I know what you guys are doing there at Pine Ridge. That's not NASCAR, but the thing is, if you can capture a NASCAR fan and let them know, hey, we're running circles out here. We're doing this out here in Guntown. I mean, am I saying that right? Is that Guntown? Is that how you say that?
It's Guntown. It's a suburb. It's one of the suburbs of Tupelo. So it's about, I would say, 6 miles from our store.
Sweet. So how important is that for you to kind of lean on, like this past week, you know, with Kyle Larson? I mean, that dude, he races all these different things. I mean, how much do you lean on the big brands to say, hey, we've got local stars that are doing this at a racetrack right here in our community. And oh, by the way, Midas is a part of this.
Right. What we've done is lean in a little bit with the race fans, but also I tout it as Tupelo having another source of outdoor entertainment that's affordable, you know, not just from the sports standpoint, but also from, you know, it's affordable family entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, it's the price of going to a movie and the concessions are a lot less. It's interactive. You can take your friends, fresh air. You might get a little dirt on you, but other than that, you know, it's pretty safe and good. And, you know, the Pine Ridge Speedway was nominated in the local paper here for 2 different categories for entertainment in our area. Midas was nominated for 5. So we're actually seeing, you know, that partnership grow, being more involved in the community. Our mechanics love going to the races, you know, so it kind of gives us a bonding time with staff, but also a way for us to network and letting those, you know, fans know that we're here. You know, we give away $20 off coupons all the time for oil changes. We do door prizes. It may be a TV. It may be a cooler. We're giving away something every week. So it kind of keeps them interactive with our product, but more about us, you know. Mm-hmm. And it was funny. When we first had the tent, several people came up, thought they had to pay to be involved. And so we're like, no, it's a free event. You know, you can register for free. And when they found that out, it was like game on.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And Jason, kind of from this involvement, and I know it's newer. I mean, I know it takes some time for things to kind of come full circle. But for you at your stores, talking to the employees and folks that you have, on payroll, is this something where it's already kind of reciprocating back to where folks are like, "Hey, I came to Midas of you name which one." Because I heard about them at Pine Ridge. Is that starting to work yet? Because I know that's pivotal in an investment like this.
Yeah, we've definitely seen customers come into our closer store. Columbus actually too. Just due to the fact there's a lot of race fans that are coming to Tupelo or Gun Tap that are they're race fans in Columbus too. So they're gonna like Magnolia Speedway, that kind of thing. So they yeah, so we're seeing definite um, returning or new customers, and we've taken opportunity to, as we get to know the fans, reach out to them after the fact as well with their registrations, and so we're trying to make the most of that opportunity as well.
Yeah.
But I do see it growing. Already hearing about it. Yeah, you talk about the guys on the payroll, the team, and they've been like they love going to the track, so they've been so excited about it. It's kind of a I say if you want to go to the track, I got to go. They're really hitting me hard on a car. They've all identified a couple cars that they want to get into one of the series, enter in somehow. So we'll see.
And I got to tell you, Jason, kind of right back to you. I mean, I bet that really is a thing for you to where people are like, okay, where's the Midas car? I had friends in Mobile where Aaron's rent to own became a part of what was happening at that track. And it's like, people are like, okay, where's Aaron's truck or where's Aaron's car? And, we see that with Advanced Auto Parts on short tracks. So where's the Advanced car? So it's like, I'm sure a lot of the drivers are like, hey, but it's kind of the betterment of growing the track and growing the sport when you start stepping in at this level.
Yeah.
Yep, no doubt about it. So Ron, with you and your marketing mind, as this takes off, and it really sounds like you're making a really good impact there on everything happening at Pine Ridge. Is this something to where you, as the CMO, to where you look at this and you maybe try to expand a little bit, maybe find another racetrack in the area? Because I know Mississippi's different from Texas, because Texas, everything is so spread out. But Mississippi's a lot more confined to where you can really make something out of this in a smaller area.
Well, really, the thing about it is there's another track at Columbus at our other store, but it comes back to the manpower issue of being able to cover two tracks back-to-back nights. There's one Jason and there's one Ron. So that's something that we keep trying to grow on, get it out there, and get our brand. But the thing about it is dirt track racing is huge in Mississippi. After living in Texas for 23 years, and then I was in Shreveport for a year with Boot Hill. I was around the tracks, did it in Texas. The difference here is just the community of the racers. They support everybody at the track. The sponsor, production with Brian Mitchell has done an amazing job in such a short amount of time. I mean, they believe in their product. They dumped a ton of money into this track to fix it. It was kind of like a big, if you want to do a track rebuild, this is really what you did. I mean, they have suites now. They have all new seating, restrooms. I mean, they keep making the product better, from merchandising. You buy race shirt merchandise now for special events. And it's just a way for all of us to connect and be more involved in our community.
Guys, and it really these days, isn't that the key? Because I work at a racetrack in Corpus, and Ron, you know how far that is from me in Round Rock. I mean, that's a good ways down. But I go down there, and so much of it is, somebody told me this weekend, we had a 2-day show, and somebody came to me and said, man, it's really cool to come to a party and a race breaks out. It really is about presentation, to where the racing is great, but a lot of people, they're like, entertain me. I mean, I need something that I can consume right now that's going to keep my attention factor on this. And I think that's just kind of the new wave of racing right now on the short tracks.
Very much so on the short tracks, but I go back to my days when I met you with arena football in Austin. I always tell everybody the story is, 30 minutes after the game, you would go, "Did you have a good time?" Well, yes. What was great? Well, I caught a T-shirt. Or my kid got to do this on the field. They didn't remember the favorite, sometimes the driver or the food or whatever. It was about the experience. And it kind of goes back to the circus mentality sometimes, but you want to entertain your customers. You want them to have a great time and offer a really viable product. I mean, this last weekend, they probably had a crowd over 5,000 at Guntown. It was packed. They brought in the USOC or whatever, winged
cars,
or wing sprint cars. And, they're going over 100 miles an hour on a little half-mile track in Guntown, Texas. Wow. So it was a whole different perspective of watching the racing. The track is, through different sites. It was televised worldwide. And so you had the logo with Midas and all that branded internationally off our partnership in Guntown, Texas. And so it's like the perspective of you make the most of what you have and how you connect it, and how we tie in our community and where everybody wins. That's my goal. And I know Jason's really behind that. We just launched a new community rewards card where nonprofits can get cards, and we're going to give a percentage of our sales back to that nonprofit. I mean, we have done Jason gave away a vehicle last Christmas when I first started there. Wow. And so there is just so many good things we're doing at Midas, and we want to pull everybody else in with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad that you guys are doing this and being a part of racing, because short track racing, I mean, it's really hard. I mean, it's hard for the racetracks and for Pine Ridge to have somebody like you guys to lean on to help them. I think that's super massive. So lastly, guys, rest of the year coming up there at Pine Ridge. And I love the way that you guys say it, Pine Ridge Speedway, powered by Midas of Tupelo. The rest of the year out there looks like a pretty loaded schedule from everything that I can see on there.
Yeah, it's a packed schedule at the track, and they keep having different events. They're doing a sports modified this weekend with a 5K to win. Damn. So, I mean, they're growing it quick, and they're doing it the right way.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That is what it's all about, and being fair to the racers, and it seems like they're doing that as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of this, the 2024 Dirty Air Short Track Spotlight. Glad to talk about Pine Ridge Speedway, powered by Midas Tupelo. You guys keep doing what you're doing, and it's guys like you that make this stuff real, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You got it. Take care, gentlemen. You bet. All right, really cool stuff right there. That is in Mississippi, and like they were talking about, dirt track racing there is huge, absolutely huge. And I love the fact that you have somebody like Midas. I mean, there are so many different organizations that dive in here and really, jump in and help the short tracks and just kind of everything that Ron's talked to me about with what they're doing there. Very much the case there. And you can check them out. I mean, really cool. Check it out. Pine Ridge, one word, Speedway on Facebook. You can catch all the race schedule, everything that they have coming up in 2024. Like you said, they just had a huge sprint car event coming up, and they got another one coming up this weekend with the Sport Mods. You guys stick around. Coming up, we're going to put this one in the oven. Going to talk a little bit about the Indy 500. I'll talk about Charlotte and who knows what else. Man, Thirsty Thursday. Clean air is good. Times like this, dirty air just a tad bit better. Friends, this is where the short trackers gather. It's Dirty Air on Racing America. You guys stick around.
Subscribe today to RacingAmerica.tv to join our racing community and get access to over 200 live pavement short track races each season from across the U.S. and Canada. Plus, RacingAmerica.tv has exclusive and behind-the-scenes coverage of the NASCAR Cup teams.
Enjoy competing with your teammates.
We already know. Subscribe today and claim additional discounts and access. And your front row seat to watch the excitement and drama.
Car lifts up in the air.
From grassroots to NASCAR, become a subscriber today at the home for race fans everywhere.
You're watching Racing America right here on Racing America.
Racing America. It's in our DNA.
comes to Wenatchee Valley Super Oval Saturday, June 1st for the Wenatchee 200. See the West Coast's best grassroots racers as they compete for 200 laps and battle for $25,000 to the winner, plus Thunder Cars and Legends. It's the Wenatchee 200 paying $25,000 to win at Wenatchee Valley Super Oval Saturday, June 1st. For more information, go to WVSO.com and you can watch it only on RacingAmerica.tv. Presented by 317 Awards. Custom awards and trophies for all types of events and occasions. Plaques, custom trophies, custom laser engraving, custom laser cutting, custom vinyl work, banners, and more. It's 317 Awards. When you've got an award to give, you might as well give it with pride and get it from the best in the business. Check out 317 Awards.
Dirty Air on Racing America. Rodney Rodriguez back with you guys as we get set to wrap up another fantastic edition. Be sure to check out iTunes, Spotify, all those spots, Spreaker. You'll find the audio podcast of everything that we have done here tonight. Tony Schumacher, Brian Benedict, the folks from over there in Tupelo, Midas Tupelo, at Pine Ridge Speedway. We'll have all of that on the audio podcast. And of course, you can go back and watch on the Racing America socials, the YouTube page and Facebook and so forth and so on. So coming off of the weekend, as we get set to wrap this up, kind of my final thoughts. The Indianapolis 500 once again does not disappoint. I've talked about this. I talked about it last week to where when I did my Indy 500 preview, to where the race just so special to so many people. And I think that this year added another chapter to it with Joseph Newgarden going back to back. I mean, and the heartbreak and the honesty and the emotion that we saw from Patricio O'Ward right there from Pato after that race. It would really look like Pato was going to win that for Arrow McLaren, but it just did not work out. And you see the prowess of Penske, and it's a Newgarden going back to back, and he has won now 2 Indianapolis 500s. Kyle Larson with a really, really good run. He had the pit penalty towards the middle latter stages of that race, kind of doomed him in with all of that. And then there's a lot of chatter going back and forth, depending on where you look on social media with the whole waiver thing and NASCAR. What are they going to do? I mean, honestly, in my opinion, if you want to slide on up to the double R bar, I don't know why they are really just sitting around waiting to figure out what to do here. I mean, it would be NASCAR's not going to do something to where they're going to not allow Kyle Larson to be a part of the playoffs. I mean, that would be series suicide. I mean, we have seen so many times in the past where, maybe NASCAR has done things that it's maybe not the right decision. And you sit there and you go back and forth. Hell, this car, for crying out loud, is something that a lot of folks look at and it's like, well, they made a mistake here, but they're not going to do that right now. And, honestly, I think it's a calculated thing right now to where they're just kind of waiting and letting the speculation happen and just to get you guys fired up and get you guys on social media and kind of poke you guys and get you fired up about what might happen right here. But it would be stupid for them to not to do something that would be detrimental to Kyle Larson being a part of the chase. So I think that's something just kind of sizzling, just kind of roasting at the moment. Last week after Dirty Air, our last episode, we had the Tar Heel 250 at Hickory. And once again, Cole Butcher, they're driving for Donnie Wilson in the super late models. He did just another masterful job. I say that and I use that word a lot of times when guys are out on speedways and so forth, but Cole Butcher has done something there with Wilson Motorsports to where he's winning these big races and he's winning them in really dynamic fashion. And he is the guy to beat right now. Last week on Dirty Air, we had the Dirty Girl. JD Boucher was on with me and she called it. I mean, she said it's going to be Butcher. And if you were watching that race, kind of halfway through, not the dude on the point, but he finds a way to win over Casey Roderick, Dawson Sutton, Matt Craig, and Bubba Pollard. And that's another story there that you can kind of look at. Something that was discussed last week is Bubba Pollard kind of taking a step a little bit further back right there. And this is where we go back to the dollars and cents of everything that's going on in super late model racing. It's just not cheap to do this. And with Bubba and his family, they operate, Sonoya Raceway in Georgia. They've got that's going on. And it really looks like right now that Bubba's exploring other things that he can be doing. And that's much deserved for Bubba Pollard. I mean, everything that he's accomplished. I mean, he kind of hit that echelon where he got to race in the Nationwide Series. Really cool to see him at Hendrick and the DEI thing, or the Hendrick Motorsports thing a couple of weeks back when they had the open house and he was there signing autographs and all that. And it's much deserved right there. I think he's fallen into a really good place there with a good dude, with Tony Elrod, that's going to afford him opportunities to get on the racetrack and just continue racing. I mean, is he going to chase UARA championships? Is he going to chase Southern Super Series championships? I mean, this may be a time and place right now in Bubba's career where he doesn't give a damn about that. Where it's about, I'm going to show up and I'm going to race and I'm going to win when I can. Maybe that's what he's doing. But definitely for him to step away and kind of get away from the team concept, because it's a lot that he has to do on his own, he and his family. So I've talked about it in the past where we have with pro late models. We talked about it a couple of months ago to where racetracks are working together. The Rogers Dabbs Performance Parts Pro Late Model Challenge, and that stuff is happening at different racetracks right here along the Gulf Coast. $5,000 minimum that's going to be going to the champion of that Pro Late Model Series, and a great opportunity there for Pro Late Models to showcase and shine. And that first Pro Late Model Challenge race is coming up Friday. You can find it right here on Racing America. How about a word from the voice guy?
Pro Late Models Friday night, May 31st at Five Flags Speedway. RacingAmerica.tv has you covered with all the action plus support classes. It's all Friday night, May 31st, only on RacingAmerica.tv.
And pardon me, it is race number 2. So that'll be race number 2 there for the Rogers Dabbs Pro Late Model Challenge. A really nice effort that's being put together with all of that. All right, guys, great program. We got a weekend coming up. We are past the Memorial Day weekend, the official start of summer, and now we hit that home stretch. About to get really hot. Point races at racetracks, dirt tracks, asphalt tracks. All of that is fixing to really heat up as we hit that home stretch. Again, for the folks that were checking in right there, listening to Brian Benedict, the Houston race has been canceled. Just weather here is out of control. So you won't be able to go see that. June 22nd will be the next Houston race date. The Pro Trucks will be on that bill. Crown Vics, if you are interested in doing a Crown Vic thing, reach out on HMP Oval Track on Facebook. And I mean, just let those guys know that you have one and you may be willing to make the tow. Legacies, that conversation with Brian Benedict, Tony Schumacher. I mean, my goodness, how fun was that to listen to him? One big ass race that will be coming up this weekend on Racing America is happening at Wenatchee.
Comes to Wenatchee Valley Super Oval Saturday, June 1st for the Wenatchee 200. See the West Coast's best grassroots racers as they compete for 200 laps and battle for $25,000 to the winner. Plus Thunder Cars and Legends. It's the Wenatchee 200, paying $25,000 to win at Wenatchee Valley Super Oval Saturday, June 1st. For more information, go to WVSO.com, and you can watch it only on RacingAmerica.tv.
Absolutely. All right. With this weekend, get out and find a racetrack. If you can't find a racetrack that you can go to, find a streamer. Racing America, all of them. I mean, everybody. Flow, Race On. I mean, there's so many. Track TV, so many that do a great job and put you right in the seat. All right, guys. Thank you all for being a part of the program. Running a little bit later, but that's what happens when you get guys like Tony Schumacher and Brian Benedict and the great folks from over at Pine Ridge Speedway, powered by Midas of Tupelo. We'll do it again next Thursday. Thirsty Thursday, right here on Dirty Air. And friends, remember, clean air is good. Times like this, dirty air, just a tad bit better. And Thursdays, right here, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. It's where the short trackers gather. My name is Rodney Rodriguez from deep in the heart of Texas. Thank you for being a part of the program. I look forward to seeing you soon. And if I don't see you soon, I'll see you the next time I see you. Have a great weekend, folks, and enjoy your short track racing action.